Hi folks, how you doing? It's James, JT at the movies, and we're back today for another update, and this is everything that I've picked up in the month of March 2021. So we've got some DVDs, we've got some Blu-rays, we've got a handful of 4Ks, and we've even got a Laserdisc. Now I don't have a Laserdisc player, so you're probably thinking, James, why on earth have you bought that? Well, if you know me, you'll know that The Abyss is one of my favourite films. Cameron, where's the Blu-ray? Where's the 4K, mate? But yeah, The Abyss is one of my favourite films, and I just wanted to pick it up really for sort of collecting purposes. You might see just there that I've got the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade Laserdisc as well, again for the artwork. It's a Japanese one. I really like the look of that, and I have a couple of James Bond ones up there. So it's just something that I'll buy occasionally for collecting purposes, really, for some of my favourite films, because I love the artwork all blown up like that. So it come with an information sleeve like Records and Laserdiscs did, and I framed that, so I've got that up on the wall there, and it's the brilliant poster art that's on that. Absolutely love it, and I think that's just a great little display piece next to my TV, is that. So yeah, absolutely, that's the one and only Laserdisc that I picked up this month. So let's jump into some DVDs, as we generally sort of work up in format, don't we, in these updates. The first one I picked up as a bit of a gamble, because I wasn't prepared to spend the silly money that has been asked for the imprint edition of this film on Blu-ray at the moment, because it's a film that I've not heard of before, but obviously as the imprint edition's come out, it's been getting a lot of buzz. But then I looked on Amazon, and this was, I think, $3.99. So I've picked up Breakdown on DVD. So it is a second-hand copy, but there were pictures of the discs available, and again, I've been able to confirm once I've got it, it's immaculate. So it's one of them where I'll be able to watch it at my leisure, and then if I like it, I can look to upgrading to Blu-ray later. But I just felt that going on for 30 to 40 quid or whatever it was for one title just felt a little bit too rich for my blood for a blind buy anyway. The next DVD that I bought was one that I got in Poundland, and it's a Denzel Washington, one that I've not seen or heard of before, but I really like Denzel in pretty much anything and everything. I will watch that bloke in anything. And this one's Out of Time. If you've seen this one, let me know. Is it one I should get to fairly quickly? I have a week off this week, so I'm going to be watching a fair few films at the back end when the weather's supposed to be a bit naff. So I'm looking forward to watching that one. John over at Mondo Televic, mate, you're to blame for this one, I'm afraid. I first saw this when I was in school. Me and my sister and I think my cousins went to go and see this, and I'm pretty sure we watched it in school as well, and I've always enjoyed it. Disney films are something that I quite enjoy, and then after seeing your video, I thought, do you know what, I'll re-watch that, and didn't have it. So when we were in Poundland and I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up, why not? The next one I picked up is to replace a DVD that I bought in CEX many years ago, and it was one of those ones where I'd never got round to watching it, and then when I put it on, the disc skipped. So again, it's a Poundland one, and it's a replay one, but I've had, touch wood, no bother with the Poundland ones not working, and this looks to be in better nick than the one that I've got anyway. So that is Men of Honor. And that's obviously Cuba Gooding Jr. and Robert De Niro. It's a military drama, from what I remember. The next one I got from Asda, who, for some bizarre reason, have teamed up with Music Magpie and are now selling second-hand titles. I didn't have this one, and I'd sort of completely forgotten about it, really, but I remembered watching the trailer years ago when it first came out, and not been sort of... when you're not paying attention to something, but then the Talking Heads came on and they were doing Once in a Lifetime, and I was like, oh, brilliant, not heard this song in ages. And then it made me pay attention to what was going on in the trailer, and then the concept grabbed me, and that's for Downsizing. So just a short and sweet DVD update there for us. Let's jump in now to some Blu-rays. So let's have a look here then and see what we've got, shall we? So please don't judge me too much. Some of my favourite horror movies are the Wrong Turn movies, and I've got them all to press on DVD. Obviously I haven't got the new one yet because it doesn't come out for a month or so. But I've watched the new one, really quite enjoyed it, and then decided that I'd go back and see some of the old ones and put the DVD on for the first one. And whilst it was watchable, it weren't really the best quality. Obviously you take that chance with some of the older DVDs. So I had a look, and on Amazon's German site they had these on for the equivalent of £5 a piece. So I thought, well, do you know what, I'll upgrade the lot of them. So Wrong Turn 1, Wrong Turn 2, Dead End, Wrong Turn 3. Now, I will be keeping my DVD of Wrong Turn 3 because this looks to be an edited cut, if you like. There's some of the, the gore and bits taken out of it. But whereas the DVD that I've got somewhere down there has definitely got additional scenes in it, because there was a scene I was waiting for when I rewatched it. I'm like, where's that? I know I haven't dreamt that. Checked the DVD, and yeah, it's an extended, unrated, whatever you want to call it, edition. The next one is the only UK Blu-ray of this Wrong Turn series. For some reason, number 4 wasn't readily available in Germany, but the rest were. So Wrong Turn 4. So this is where the series sort of takes a bit of a turn, really, in quality. Well, I suppose you could say that after 2, really, because 1 and 2 were pretty good, and then 3's a bit meh. But yeah, this is where it really takes a nosedive in quality and sort of just becomes torture porn, really. But I don't mind this one. I quite like the setting of the old abandoned hospital, and the fact that it's winter. It just feels like something a bit different that we'd not seen before. And like I say, for me, that's probably the one where it's like not. And for me, that's the one where it's sort of like, it is a bit silly, the quality's definitely dropped, but it's the last one that's really passable. So the next one is number 5. I'm a completist, folks. This movie is not great. I think Doug Bradley, obviously of Hellraiser fame, is the saving grace for this one. But he doesn't save the whole thing. It's just nice to see him in something. And I picked up number 6. Now, I picked this up more as a curiosity than anything, because the DVD of Wrong Turn 6 that came out in 2014 across the world was quickly pulled out of circulation, and has been quite hard to get a hold of that original copy. Now, somebody more knowledgeable than myself will probably be able to correct me in the comments if I've got this wrong, but I believe that it was something to do with the fact that they'd used photos and missing person posters of real missing people to be sort of shown as victims of the cannibals, and that a lawsuit came about when somebody was watching the movie and recognised their relative as a supposed victim of the cannibals, and so obviously that didn't really go down too well. So that's what I remember being told, and I don't know whether that's just a bit of an urban legend, a bit of a myth, or whether there was some sort of rights issues or whatever. But from what I understand, because I've only ever watched my UK DVD version of it, the version that's been re-released now on Blu-ray on continent, we've not got it again, and I don't think the Americans have either. But it's an edited version, so I'll be curious to go back to it and see what's been taken out. Hopefully, if that's true, what I've just said before, and not just an internet myth, then they obviously will have removed the pictures of the poor missing people. The next one I picked up, my good buddy Lyndon recommended that I watch this, as supposedly it is a really good bad movie, and it's Stephen King's Sleepwalkers. So this is the Eureka set that came out sort of August, September time last year. I've still to watch it. Obviously, only picked it up this month, but I will get round to it. We picked up a Liam Neeson one. Me and Laura both quite like watching Liam Neeson's sort of action movies. Everything he's done post-Taken is basically just Taken, or something similar to it in another setting, isn't it? And he always plays the same sort of bloke, out for one last job, or the crook that just wants to get out of the game, or the cop that you shouldn't trust but he's got a heart of gold sort of thing. It's all daft, isn't it? But I do like it. I've seen that one not so long since, and decided I wanted to upgrade it when I saw it there. So yeah, the next one I got is again another upgrade. It is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the David Fincher American remake of the Stieg Larsson novel. Obviously the original, I think it's Swedish yet. Obviously the original Swedish trilogy is brilliant, but David Fincher really did something special with that. I'm a little bit biased because he's my favourite filmmaker of all time. But I had the DVD from when it came out, and I haven't got it to hand to show you, but the DVD, for anybody who's got the first pressing of it, is made to look like a pirate DVD. So it's in a card sleeve, and the disc is printed to look like a blank disc that's been scrolled on with a marker pen. And it was getting flattened in the shelves, basically. So when I saw that, I thought, well, do you know what? It's a great film. I come to it probably at least once a year. I'll upgrade that to Blu-ray, and then I can put my DVD copy, somewhere safe where it's not going to get any more damaged and knackered up than it is. I really like that David Fincher does that when he brings his films out. Obviously Mank's gone straight to Netflix, and if that sees the light of day, it'll probably be a Criterion, because that seems to be what happens with the Netflix originals that get released at the moment, is they seem to come to Criterion, don't they? The Irishman did it, and Marriage Story, etc. But David Fincher, he puts out these really sort of like definitive editions of his films just right off the get-go. Like the Gone Girl Blu-ray has a version of the book that the main character writes about Amazing Amy, and like I say, the girl with the dragon tattoo one sort of links in with the character Elizabeth and the fact that she's a hacker, and it just all really neat marketing stuff. I really appreciate stuff like that. I suppose we all do, really, if we're collectors of variants of physical media. I'll stop rambling, shall I, and get on to the next title? Yeah, absolutely. So the next one I picked up, based on the in-laws' recommendations. They watched it recently, and when they rung our last Tavernatta, they'd said that they'd watched it, and it reminded me of the film, and realised that I didn't have it, but I loved the cast, and it's a John Carpenter one, so I figured I'd pick up Starman. This next one that I picked up is one of the few Van Damme ones from his sort of classic era of films that I didn't have. And 88 Films have been doing an absolutely fantastic run of Jean-Claude Van Damme films lately. Like I say, I didn't have this one, so I thought I'd jump in on the action. I could have got some of the other ones, I could have quite happily upgraded some of the other ones, but they're just a little bit pricey for me at the moment, when the ones I've got on DVD or standard Blu-ray or whatever on the wooden shelf down there aren't really films that I go and put on all the time. If I'm really in the mood for Van Damme, I might have a week where I'll watch 3 or 4 of them in a week, but then that might be it for a year or two. So it's one of those things, isn't it, where I didn't have that one, so I thought, well, that can be the one to test the waters with. The next one, I really hope people don't hate me for getting, because I know this film was divisive. I loved it, and I'm not even ashamed to say that I loved it. I had a great time with it. Now, we didn't need a sequel to Terminator 2, but if ever we were going to have one, for me, this is the one to have. We got Linda Hamilton back as Sarah Connor, and she is a badass in this film. I won't hear otherwise. And I think Arnie's on point as well. There are just so many brilliant moments in this movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I had the DVD copy when it came out, as I wasn't really bothered for the special features, and actually saw it in a CEX for a couple of quid cheaper than what it would have been to go into HMV to get it, and so picked it up in there. And then when I watched it, whilst the quality was acceptable, it weren't really what we're hoping for, even for a DVD, if that makes sense. But I'd held on to it for the year or so that it had been out, and then we were in Morrison's the other week, and this was, I think, 6 or 7 quid, so I thought, well, do you know what, I'll have that. And then I sent my old DVD copy over to my father-in-law, because he quite likes the Terminator movies, and didn't have it yet. The next one I picked up is to go towards completing my Christopher Nolan collection. And this is an Italian import release of Insomnia. So far as I'm aware, this never came out on Blu-ray here in the UK or in the US, or if it did, it had a limited run and is very much out of print. I've got everything apart from Following, which I know you can get on US Criterion, but I don't have a multi-region player. And I keep toying with getting one, but not quite an investment for me just yet. But apart from that, I got everything else of his on, HD or 4K. So I figured, well, I'll get that one. Saw it on a good deal, so finally upgraded my DVD copy. I picked this next one up again on the back of my entry to John Mondachelevic's competition. I talked about my prop, The Mask from The Mask, and it got me thinking about rewatching the film. And I remembered that I have only got it on DVD, so I fancied having a look at getting it on Blu-ray. And then I saw that the Warner Brothers store were doing these Icons of Warner Brothers editions, and I really, really liked this slit work. For some reason, I'm not bothered for this artwork at all. It really doesn't do anything for me, and it kind of put me off for years upgrading the DVD to the Blu-ray, which is daft, isn't it? Absolutely daft, when I've got the DVD with the same artwork I've just shown you sat there. And amazing how the human mind works, isn't it? Another import here. This is a US import, though the disc is region free, which I think is usually the case with most Universal titles. Don't quote me on that, but I've not had any bother with any of the other ones I've got. So this is Honest Thief. It's another Liam Neeson sort of straight to DVD. I think it was theatrical in the US, but for UK, I think we're going to get it on an on-demand service at some point later in the year, if what I read on the Tinterweb was right. But yeah, I really fancied watching that, and much like you guys, I prefer to have a physical copy than stream something any day. It's just another typical Liam Neeson film. The title tells you all you need to know. He's been a thief, he decides that he wants to go straight, and then finds that there are challenges for doing that, and the story and the adventure goes from there, sort of thing. It's another, another non-stop, another Taken, another Unknown, another, insert generic Liam Neeson's later years action movie title here. Certainly nothing wrong with it though. Perfectly good watch, some good fight scenes in it, good bit of dialogue. And yeah, it's some good way to pass a couple of hours on a rainy afternoon or evening, I would say, and I think that's perfectly fair. This next one's another Poundland pickup. It was the cast and the synopsis that grabbed me, but I don't really know anything about it. I'm probably going to watch it this week actually, and it's Devil's Knot. Colin Firth, if I could speak, and Reese Witherspoon. The next one, the penultimate Blu-ray, is another European import. I think this might be from Norway, or that neck of the woods anyway, but it's A Time to Kill. And the reason I picked this up and upgraded from my DVD, well, there's two reasons actually. The DVD I've got, which I've just got here actually, the reason I've got it just to hand is because I've already tried filming this video once and absolutely cocked it up. But there we go. The DVD that I've got is an old Warner Brothers snapper case. I must have had this 10 years or more. Got it in a charity shop or whatever. Bought it based on the cast. But as you can see, it's one of these discs. Now, it's not one where it's full screen on one side and widescreen on another, which I've got for some older Warner Brothers titles. Like there's a Scooby-Doo one that I've got that I occasionally rewatch because I love it, and that's that way. It's got full screen on one side and then widescreen with the bars on the other side. No, this one stops the film halfway through and you have to flip it over. And I know that was the case with Laserdiscs and even VHS. Sometimes films would come across two tapes. But it was always one of those things whenever I'd watch it where it'd take me out of the film because you'd just be getting into it and then it'd be, please turn over. And yeah, so when I sort of heard that they're actually bringing a sequel out to that film with Matthew McConaughey coming back as an HBO Max limited run thing, so I imagine we'll get it on Sky over here as seems to be the norm. I sort of thought, I really fancy rewatching that, and I love a good legal thriller. But then immediately thought of my DVD and thought, not a chance I'm sitting through that like that now. So picked up the DVD, picked up the Blu-ray, and I think it were £6-7 was that. So money well spent in my opinion. So the next one and the last Blu-ray that I've got before I show you the handful of 4Ks that I've picked up this month is the sort of the basic edition of a set that a lot of our fellow YouTubers were getting over Christmas. And whilst I absolutely love this film and it's one of my favourite zombie films, one of my favourite horror films, I just couldn't bring myself to spend £70 on the set and really thought, actually, am I going to delve into reading the book that came with it or listen to the soundtracks and look at the art cards? I'm probably not. So I waited and I got the Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray set. So it comes with the main features of the set that came out at Christmas: the theatrical cut, the extended cans cut, and the Argento cut, and then the fourth disc full of special features as well. So there's everything from the set that came out before that I would use in this set, and obviously it's a fraction of the price. £25 on Zavvi was that, which I thought was great, and it came to me. Oh, actually, I bought it directly from the film company. Is it Second Sight that put? Yeah, Second Sight Films. I bought that directly from them, and it came a couple of days before the release date as well, which I thought was great. As you can see, still in its cellophane, so I haven't got around to watching it yet, but I definitely will be watching it soon. So then, some 4Ks, folks. Let's have a look. So I'll show you the obvious one that I think is going to be on everybody's update for March. I picked up Wonder Woman 1984. Now, I had a really good time with this movie. Yeah, the third act is flawed, and I'm not really the biggest fan of how they handled Cheetah in this. Cheetah's my favourite Wonder Woman villain. In another life, I was quite a comic book collector, and really am still to this day quite a big comic book fan. And all these superhero movies and DC, Marvel and stuff is really right up my street and a big passion of mine. But yeah, absolutely loved the first two acts and found it all really interesting. But then, when they made Kristen Wiig's, Barbara into Cheetah at the end, I just felt like they didn't really handle the character that well, and it was like, sort of mild spoilers, but the end battle was just like a couple of punches from Wonder Woman and she were out for the count, and then it just, yeah, the third act didn't didn't hold up for as good as the first 2 acts were for me. But I did have a lot of fun with it. I watched it on demand. We rented it when obviously it skipped the cinema release. But yeah, I still picked this up day one, and I'm going to rewatch it fairly soon, actually, and give it another go. In fact, I might do a double bill with the first one again. The first one was one of my favourite of the recent runs of DC ones. Speaking of DC movies, again, one of our fellow YouTubers, John, I think his channel's called Movie Collector. He's the chap, I'm sure you'll know him, with the fantastic home cinema, and he does really sort of like in-depth reviews about the technical aspects of the film and how they look on Blu-ray versus DVD and 4K, or even like film stock or whatever. And he talked about Superman the movie on 4K, and he gave it, I'm going to try and link it if I can. I picked it up, I'm going to try and link the video up above. But he gave it a really honest review and sort of, you know, talked about, from what he could gather, that there were different film stocks used for the restoration, and for the first half an hour or so, the quality's maybe not as good as the rest of it. And I was really inclined to agree with him after watching it on 4K myself. But it really made me want to go back to John's video and rewatch Superman the movie and experience the 4K. So I had a look on Amazon. He says in his last video where I talked about getting 4Ks, saying I didn't really buy them off the internet, but went and had a look on Amazon, and there was I can't remember what it was. I got some sort of a deal anyway, and got that one, and then managed to also get this one. It might have been like 2 for 25 quid or something like that. But I picked up Hook as well, which is one of my favourite Spielberg releases. I absolutely love this film. Loved it since I was a kid. I've got the DVD, as is usually the case with me. And yeah, it's one of them that I've been meaning to upgrade for ages. And then when I was sort of looking at what else I could get to complete the whatever the deal was at the beginning of the month on Amazon, I saw that and thought, do you know what? Now's the time. So I picked that up, and I'm really looking forward to going back and watching this one in 4K as well. So, folks, there we are. That has been my DVD, my Blu-ray, my Laserdisc, and 4K update for March 2021. It's been a long video. I've rambled on a bit, but I do hope you've enjoyed it. Leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on the pickups and anything else that you might want to have a natter about. I love chatting to you guys in the comments. It's really brilliant. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave me a thumbs up. Lets me know and lets YouTube know that this is the sort of stuff that you like to see. Like I say, leave a comment. Let's have a natter down below. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please think about subscribing. And if you do, ring that notification bell, and that way you're the first person to know whenever I do post a video. Above all else, folks, take care of yourselves, continue to stay safe, and I will see you for my next video real soon. See you later. Bye-bye.